The arrival. The sleek silver shuttle cut through the swirling nebula gases, its hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Inside, Cassandra Way sat motionless, her dark eyes fixed on the approaching space station. Nexus 9. They called it. The most elite training facility in the known galaxy. A smile played at the corners of her mouth as she contemplated the challenges that lay ahead. As the shuttle docked with a gentle hiss, Cassandra unbuckled her harness and stood, stretching muscles honed by years of training in Earth's punishing gravity. She'd come here for one reason: to prove that humans weren't just survivors, but conquerors. The airlock cycled open, revealing a tall, willowy alien with iridescent skin and 4 arms. "Welcome to Nexus 9, human," it said, its voice a melodious trill. "I am Zalthrix, your liaison. We hope you find your stay educational." Cassandra hefted her duffel bag over her shoulder. "Thanks, Zalthrix. I'm looking forward to it. When do we start?" The alien's large, compound eyes blinked rapidly. "Eager, aren't you? Most species require at least a solar cycle to acclimate to our artificial atmosphere." "I'm not most species," Cassandra replied with a grin. "I'm human." As Zalthrix led her through the station's winding corridors, Cassandra couldn't help but notice the looks of curiosity, fear, and in some cases, outright hostility from the other alien species they passed. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic stage, and their reputation as Deathworlders preceded them. They arrived at a large, circular chamber filled with holographic displays and strange, pulsating machinery. A group of aliens of various species huddled around a central console, arguing in a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. "Esteemed trainers," Zalthrix announced, "I present Cassandra Way of Earth, our newest participant." The aliens fell silent, turning to regard Cassandra with a mixture of fascination and trepidation. The bulbous creature with tentacles for limbs oozed forward. "Human," it gurgled, "I am Grand Trainer Swordlax. Are you certain you wish to undertake our program? It has broken the spirits of the galaxy's most hardened warriors." Cassandra met Swordlax's gelatinous gaze without flinching. "With all due respect, Grand Trainer, that's exactly why I'm here. I've heard your facility offers the ultimate test of a species' potential. I intend to show you what humans are truly capable of." A ripple of unease passed through the assembled aliens. Swordlax's body pulsed with what might have been amusement or concern. "Very well. We shall begin with a standard assessment to determine your baseline capabilities. Please step onto the central platform." As Cassandra complied, the air around her shimmered, and she found herself enveloped in a holographic environment. The temperature plummeted, and icy winds whipped at her face. In the distance, she could make out the silhouette of a mountain peak shrouded in swirling snow. "Your first task," Swordlax's voice echoed around her, "is to reach the summit. You have 1 planetary rotation. Begin." Without hesitation, Cassandra set off, her boots crunching through the simulated snow. As she climbed, the environment grew increasingly hostile. The temperature dropped further, the winds intensified, and treacherous crevasses appeared in her path. Yet she pressed on, her breath steaming in the frigid air, her muscles burning with exertion. Hours passed, and still Cassandra climbed. The alien observers watched in growing amazement as she navigated obstacles that would have stymied most species. When she finally reached the summit, gasping for breath but grinning triumphantly, a stunned silence fell over the control room. "Impossible," one of the alien trainers chittered. She completed the frost giant's ascent in less than half the expected time. Swordlax's tentacles writhed in agitation. "It seems we may have underestimated our human guest. Increase the difficulty. Let us see how she handles the pyroclastic gauntlet." The holographic environment shimmered once more, and Cassandra found herself standing on a narrow ledge overlooking a sea of molten lava. Geysers of superheated gas erupted around her, and the very air seemed to burn her lungs. "Your next task," Swordlax announced, a note of challenge in its voice, is to cross the lava field and reach the obsidian fortress on the far side. You have half a planetary rotation. Begin." Cassandra's eyes narrowed as she surveyed the hellish landscape before her. This was more like it. A true test of human endurance and ingenuity. With a deep breath, she began to pick her way across the treacherous terrain, her mind already racing with strategies to overcome the obstacles ahead. As the day wore on, Cassandra tackled challenge after challenge, each more grueling than the last. She navigated asteroid fields in zero gravity, solved complex multidimensional puzzles, and even engaged in simulated combat with some of the galaxy's most feared predators. Through it all, she pushed herself to the limit, driven by an unshakable determination to succeed. The alien trainers watched in a mixture of awe and growing unease. They had designed these tests to push the boundaries of what was possible, yet this human was surpassing their wildest expectations. As Cassandra emerged from the final simulation, sweat-soaked and breathing heavily, but with fire still burning in her eyes, Swordlax approached her. The Grand Trainer's gelatinous form quivered with what might have been excitement or fear. "Human," Swordlax burbled, "you have exceeded our parameters. In all my cycles as Grand Trainer, I have never witnessed such adaptability." Cassandra allowed herself a small smile. "Thank you, Grand Trainer. But if I may be honest, I was hoping for something a bit more challenging." A shocked murmur ran through the assembled aliens. Swordlax's tentacles coiled tightly. "More challenging," it repeated, as if unable to comprehend the words. "Don't get me wrong," Cassandra continued, her voice level but her eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Your simulations are impressive, but I came here to push beyond what's merely impressive. I want to attempt the impossible." The alien trainers exchanged nervous glances. Zalthric stepped forward, its iridescent skin flickering with patterns of concern. "Cassandra," it said softly, "you must understand. Our programs are designed to test the absolute limits of a species' capabilities. What you're asking for, it simply doesn't exist." Cassandra's smile widened. "Then let's create it together. You've seen what I can do, what humans can do. Now imagine what we might accomplish if we combine your advanced technology with human ingenuity and determination." A tense silence fell over the chamber. The aliens regarded Cassandra with a mixture of fear, respect, and dawning curiosity. Finally, Swordlax spoke, its voice a low rumble. "You are either the bravest or the most foolish being I have ever encountered, human. But your words intrigue me. Perhaps it is time we reassess our understanding of what is truly possible in this vast universe." As the alien trainers huddled together, discussing in hushed tones the implications of Cassandra's request, she felt a surge of excitement. This was why she had come to Nexus 9, not just to prove human worth, but to push the boundaries of what any species thought possible. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Cassandra knew one thing for certain. The galaxy was about to witness the true potential of humanity unleashed. Raising the stakes, the following solar cycle found Cassandra standing before the assembled alien trainers in Nexus 9's primary control chamber. The atmosphere was charged with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. Grand Trainer Swordlax's gelatinous form pulsed with an array of colors as it addressed her. "Human Cassandra," Swordlax began, its voice a gravelly gurgle, "we have deliberated on your unprecedented request. While some among us believe it to be sheer madness, others see an opportunity to expand the boundaries of our understanding. We have decided to construct a series of challenges that will test the very limits of your species' potential." Cassandra nodded, a glint of excitement in her dark eyes. "I'm ready for whatever you can throw at me." Zalthric stepped forward, its iridescent skin shimmering with nervous energy. "We must warn you, Cassandra. What we have devised goes beyond anything we've ever attempted. The risks are significant." "I understand," Cassandra replied, her voice steady. "But that's why I'm here. To show you, to show the galaxy, what humans are truly capable of." Swordlax's tentacles writhed in what might have been approval. Very well. Let us begin with the quantum labyrinth. The air around Cassandra shimmered, and she found herself standing in a vast, ethereal space. Pathways of light stretched out in all directions, twisting and intersecting in impossible geometries. The very fabric of reality seemed to bend and warp around her. Your task, Thorblax's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere, is to navigate the labyrinth and reach the core. But be warned, the paths you see may not be what they appear. Reality itself is in flux here. Cassandra took a deep breath, centering herself. She had trained for extreme situations, but this was beyond anything she had ever encountered. As she took her first step onto a glowing pathway, she felt a disorienting shift, as if gravity itself had changed direction. Hours passed as Cassandra made her way through the quantum labyrinth. Each decision, each step, required intense concentration and split-second adjustments. Paths that seemed solid would vanish beneath her feet, while empty space would suddenly solidify into walkways. More than once, she found herself falling through what appeared to be solid ground, only to land on a platform that hadn't existed moments before. The alien observers watched in growing amazement as Cassandra navigated the ever-shifting maze. Her ability to adapt to the constantly changing environment, to intuit patterns in the quantum chaos, was unlike anything they had ever seen. Remarkable, Zalthrix whispered, its compound eyes fixed on the holographic display. She's progressing faster than we anticipated. It's as if she's developing an intuitive understanding of quantum mechanics on the fly. Thorblax's form rippled with what might have been concern. Increase the complexity. Let's see how she handles true dimensional instability. The labyrinth around Cassandra suddenly fractured, splitting into multiple overlapping realities. She found herself simultaneously navigating several versions of the maze. Her consciousness stretched across parallel dimensions. Lesser beings might have been driven mad by the experience, but Cassandra gritted her teeth and pushed on, her mind racing to comprehend and adapt to this new layer of complexity. As she finally reached the pulsing core of the labyrinth, collapsing the multiple realities into a single point, a stunned silence fell over the control room. Cassandra emerged from the simulation, sweat beading on her brow, but a fire of triumph in her eyes. Impossible, one of the alien trainers chittered. No species has ever completed the quantum labyrinth, let alone with multiple dimensional overlays. Thorblax's tentacles coiled tightly. It seems we must reevaluate our understanding of human cognitive capabilities. But this is merely the beginning. Prepare the gravity forge. Before Cassandra could catch her breath, she found herself transported to a new environment. She stood on a small platform suspended in a vast, swirling vortex of energy. Massive celestial bodies, planets, stars, even what appeared to be miniature black holes, orbited around her in dizzying patterns. Your next challenge, Thorblax announced, is to traverse the gravity forge. You must use the gravitational fields of the celestial bodies to propel yourself to the exit point. But be warned, a single miscalculation could result in your being crushed by immense gravitational forces or lost in the void of space. Cassandra's mind raced, calculating trajectories and gravitational influences. With a deep breath, she launched herself from the platform, using the gravity of a passing planetoid to slingshot herself towards a larger gas giant. For what felt like hours, she navigated the chaotic dance of celestial bodies, her body straining against forces that would have pulverized most beings. The alien trainers watched in awe as Cassandra masterfully manipulated the gravitational fields, performing maneuvers that should have been impossible for a species so new to space travel. Her innate understanding of physics, combined with her incredible physical resilience, allowed her to survive forces that would have torn apart most spacecraft. As Cassandra finally reached the exit point, gasping for breath but alive, Zalthrix turned to Thorblax, its voice filled with a mixture of admiration and concern. Grand Trainer, I believe we may have underestimated the humans. Their potential seems to be far greater than we initially thought. Thorblax's gelatinous form pulsed with agitation. Indeed, this complicates matters. The Council must be informed. As Cassandra recovered from the gravity forge, she couldn't help but notice the hushed, urgent conversations taking place among the alien trainers. There was an undercurrent of tension that hadn't been present before. She approached Zalthrix, her liaison, hoping for some insight. "Is everything all right?" she asked. "I couldn't help but notice everyone seems a bit on edge." Zalthrix's iridescent skin flickered with patterns of unease. "Cassandra, you must understand. Your performance here, it's unprecedented. Some among us are beginning to wonder if we've made a mistake in underestimating humanity's potential." Cassandra frowned. "Isn't that a good thing? Isn't the point of this facility to push the boundaries of what's possible?" "In theory, yes," Zalthrix replied, its voice lowered. "But there are political considerations. The balance of power in the galaxy is delicate. A species with the potential you've demonstrated, it could be seen as a threat." Before Cassandra could respond, an alarm blared through the facility. Red lights pulsed, and alien voices raised in a cacophony of worried chitters and whistles. "What's happening?" Cassandra demanded. Zalthrix's compound eyes widened in surprise. It's the Ravagers. They're attacking the station." "But how?" "This facility's location is supposed to be secret." As chaos erupted around them, Cassandra's mind raced. The Ravagers, a notoriously ruthless band of interstellar pirates and mercenaries. Their sudden appearance couldn't be a coincidence. "We need to evacuate," Zalthrix urged, tugging at Cassandra's arm. But Cassandra stood her ground, her eyes narrowing as she surveyed the panicking aliens around her. "No," she said firmly, "we need to fight back. And I have a feeling you're going to need humanity's help to do it." As alarms blared and the space station shuddered under the assault of the Ravagers, Cassandra realized that her greatest challenge yet was just beginning. The true test of humanity's potential was about to unfold, with the fate of Nexus 9, and perhaps the galaxy itself, hanging in the balance. The breaking point. The corridors of Nexus 9 echoed with the sounds of chaos. Blaring alarms, panic shouts, and the ominous rumble of distant explosions. Cassandra raced alongside Zalthrix, her mind working overtime to process the rapidly unfolding situation. "We need to get to the command center," Cassandra shouted over the din. "From there, we can coordinate a defense." Zalthrix's iridescent skin flickered with patterns of fear and uncertainty. But we're not equipped for this. Nexus 9 is a training facility, not a military installation." Cassandra's eyes flashed with determination. "Then we'll have to get creative. Your simulations were designed to test the limits of various species, right? Well, it's time to put all that technology to real use." As they burst into the command center, they found Grand Trainer Sorblax and the other alien trainers huddled around holographic displays, their tentacles and appendages writhing in agitation. "The Ravagers have breached the outer defenses," one of the aliens chittered. "They'll be inside the station within cycles." Cassandra pushed her way to the central console. "Show me the station's layout and the Ravagers' points of entry," she commanded. The aliens exchanged uncertain glances, but Sorblax nodded its gelatinous form. A three-dimensional map of Nexus 9 materialized before them, red dots indicating where the Ravagers were breaking through. Cassandra's eyes darted over the display, her tactical mind formulating a plan. "Okay, listen up," she began, her voice cutting through the panic. "We're going to use your training simulations against them. Zalthrix, can you reconfigure the quantum labyrinth to encompass these corridors?" She pointed to several key junctions. Zalthrix blinked in surprise. "Ah, yes, but the Ravagers would be trapped in a state of quantum flux." "Exactly," Cassandra nodded. "Sorblax, what about the gravity forge? Can we extend its effect to these docking bays?" Sorblax's tentacles coiled thoughtfully. "It is possible, but the gravitational fluctuations would tear their ships apart." A grim smile played at the corners of Cassandra's mouth. "That's the idea. And for the main hangar, We'll use the pyroclastic gauntlet simulation. Turn it into a sea of lava that should discourage any direct assaults. The alien trainers stared at her in a mixture of awe and horror. Cassandra had taken their most challenging, most dangerous simulations and weaponized them in a matter of moments. "Well," she demanded, "what are you waiting for? Let's move." Galvanized by her leadership, the aliens sprang into action. Holographic interfaces flickered as they reconfigured the station's systems, turning Nexus 9's training modules into a deadly defensive network. As the first wave of Ravagers breached the outer hull, they found themselves plunged into a nightmarish realm of shifting realities and impossible physics. Battle-hardened warriors were reduced to confused, terrified wrecks as they tried to navigate corridors that defied Euclidean geometry. Entire squads were lost in the quantum flux, their very atoms scattered across multiple dimensions. In the docking bays, Ravager ships were caught in a maelstrom of competing gravitational fields. Metal buckled and twisted as the vessels were simultaneously pulled in a dozen different directions. Cassandra watched the holographic display with grim satisfaction as ship after ship was torn apart. But the Ravagers were nothing if not adaptable. As their initial assault faltered, they regrouped, probing for weaknesses in Nexus 9's bizarre defenses. "They're learning," Zalthrix warned, its compound eyes fixed on the tactical display. "They're starting to find ways around the quantum labyrinth." Cassandra nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Then we need to up the ante. Swordblacks, remember how you increased the complexity of the labyrinth during my test? Do it again, but this time, add in elements from the psychic resistance training." Swordblacks' gelatinous form rippled with surprise. "But that could drive them insane." "That's the point," Cassandra replied grimly. "They came here to destroy this station and everyone on it. We're fighting for our lives." As the quantum labyrinth was infused with mind-bending psychic energies, the Ravagers advanced ground to a halt. Their communications devolved into incoherent screams and babbling as the fabric of reality itself seemed to turn against them. For hours, the battle raged. Cassandra coordinated the defense from the command center, constantly adapting their strategies as the Ravagers probed for weaknesses. She pushed herself to the limit, her mind racing to stay one step ahead of their attackers. But even as they held the line, Cassandra could see that the situation was becoming dire. The station's power reserves were depleting rapidly, and the constant reconfiguration of the training modules was taking its toll on Nexus 9's systems. "We can't keep this up indefinitely," she muttered, her eyes scanning the tactical displays. "We need a way to end this decisively." It was then that she noticed something odd about the Ravagers' attack pattern. There was a cohesion to their movements, a central intelligence guiding their efforts. Her eyes narrowed as realization dawned. "Their command ship," she breathed. "It must be coordinating the entire assault. Zalthrix, can you isolate their primary communication frequencies?" The alien's iridescent skin rippled with understanding. "Yes, I believe so. But what do you intend to do?" A determined glint shone in Cassandra's eyes. "We're going to use your psychic amplification technology to send them a message they won't forget." As Zalthrix worked to isolate the Ravager communications, Cassandra turned to Swordblacks. "I need access to the most powerful psychic amplification device you have," she said, "and I need you to hook it directly into my neural pathways." Swordblacks' form quivered with alarm. "But the strain on your mind could be catastrophic. No human has ever attempted to interface with our psychic technology at that level." Cassandra's jaw set in grim determination. "There's a first time for everything. Besides, we're out of options. This ends now, one way or another." As the aliens made the necessary preparations, Cassandra steeled herself for what was to come. She knew the risks. The psychic backlash could fry her neural pathways, leaving her a vegetable, or worse. But if it meant saving Nexus 9 and everyone on it, she was willing to take that chance. "Ready," Zalthrix announced, its voice tinged with worry. Cassandra nodded, taking a deep breath as she stepped into the psychic amplification chamber. As the device powered up, she felt a surge of energy course through her body. Her mind expanded, consciousness stretching out across the void of space. With a burst of will, she projected her thoughts directly into the Ravager command ship. Images of Earth flashed through the alien minds, its churning oceans, its towering mountains, its teeming cities. But more than that, she showed them humanity's indomitable spirit, the fierce determination that had allowed them to survive and thrive on their death world. The psychic assault was overwhelming. Ravager minds buckled under the onslaught of human willpower, their carefully coordinated attack dissolving into chaos. Cassandra pushed harder, her own consciousness threatening to fragment under the strain. In the command ship, the Ravager leader clutched its head in agony as Cassandra's voice echoed through its mind. "You came here seeking to destroy us, but you have no idea what you're dealing with. We are humanity. We've survived worse than you, and we'll be damned if we let a bunch of space pirates be the end of us. Leave, now, or face extinction." The threat wasn't an idle one. Through the psychic link, the Ravagers could feel the truth of her words, could sense the raw, untapped potential of humanity. It terrified them more than any weapon ever could. As suddenly as it had begun, the attack ceased. Ravager ships disengaged, fleeing into the depths of space as fast as their engines could carry them. In the psychic amplification chamber, Cassandra collapsed, her mind reeling from the immense strain. As consciousness faded, she heard the alarmed voices of Zalthrix and Xorblax, felt gentle alien appendages lifting her. Her last thought before darkness took her was a simple one. She had done it. She had proven what humanity was capable of. And the galaxy would never be the same. Turning the tables. Consciousness returned to Cassandra slowly, like a ship emerging from a dense fog. Her eyelids fluttered open, revealing the stark white ceiling of what she assumed was Nexus 9's medical bay. As her senses sharpened, she became aware of a low hum of voices nearby, speaking in hushed, urgent tones. Unprecedented. The neural pathways should have been completely fried, one voice chittered. And yet, they're regenerating. Fascinating. Another burbled in response. Cassandra turned her head, wincing at the movement. She saw Zalthrix and Xorblax huddled with several other aliens she didn't recognize, all staring at holographic displays of what appeared to be brain scans. "Welcome back to the land of the living, Deathworlder," Xorblax said, its gelatinous form rippling in what Cassandra had come to recognize as relief. How long was I out?" Cassandra croaked, her throat dry. 3 solar cycles, Zalthrix replied, its iridescent skin flickering with concern. We weren't sure you'd wake up at all. The strain on your neural pathways was beyond anything we've ever seen." Cassandra slowly pushed herself up to a sitting position, ignoring the protests of her aching body. "The station, the Ravagers. Safe, thanks to you," Xorblax answered. "The Ravagers fled the system immediately after your intervention. They haven't been seen since." A small smile played at the corners of Cassandra's mouth. "Good. That's good." One of the unfamiliar aliens stepped forward, its multifaceted eyes gleaming with barely contained excitement. "Human Cassandra, I am Dr. Xental, Chief Cynobiologist of the Galactic Council. What you've accomplished, it's revolutionary. Your ability to interface with our psychic technology, to project your consciousness across space. It shouldn't have been possible." Cassandra's brow furrowed. "The Galactic Council. I thought Nexus 9 was an independent facility." A tense silence fell over the room. Zalthrix and Xorblax exchanged uneasy glances. "There's something we need to tell you, Cassandra," Zalthrix began hesitantly. "Nexus 9 isn't just a training facility. It's a secret research station, funded by the Galactic Council to study emerging species and assess their potential threat, or value, to the greater galactic community." The implications hit Cassandra like a physical blow. So all of this, the challenges, the tests, it was all just to study us. to see if humans were too dangerous to be allowed into your little galactic club. Thorblax's tentacles writhed uncomfortably. Initially, yes, but you must understand, your performance here has changed everything. The Council, they're reconsidering humanity's position in the galactic order. Dr. Xental nodded enthusiastically. Indeed, your species' adaptability, your problem-solving skills, your sheer determination, it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. And now, with this display of psychic potential, well, let's just say many on the Council are eager to establish closer ties with Earth. Cassandra's mind raced, processing this new information. Part of her wanted to be angry at the deception, but another part recognized the enormous opportunity this presented. Closer ties, she asked cautiously. What exactly did you have in mind? An alliance, a new voice announced. All heads turned to see a tall, regal alien entering the medical bay. Its body was covered in shimmering scales, and a crest of luminescent feathers adorned its head. I am High Counselor Zenthar. We propose a full technological and cultural exchange between humanity and the Galactic Council races. Cassandra's eyes narrowed. Just like that. No more tests, no more hoops to jump through. Zenthar's head tilted in what might have been amusement. Oh, I think you've more than proven yourself, Cassandra Way of Earth. Your actions here have not only saved Nexus 9, but have also opened our eyes to possibilities we never imagined. Humanity's potential. It's both thrilling and, I must admit, a little terrifying. What about the Ravagers? Cassandra asked. They're still out there, and now they know about us. Precisely why we need to act quickly, Zenthar replied. With our technology and your unique capabilities, we can ensure the safety of both Earth and the wider galaxy. But we must move fast. The balance of power is shifting, and not everyone will be pleased about humanity's rise. Cassandra sat in silence for a moment, weighing the enormity of what was being offered. Finally, she looked up, meeting Zenthar's gaze. I'm just one human. I can't make this decision for my entire species. The High Counselor nodded. Of course, but you can be the bridge, Cassandra. You've seen what we're capable of, and we've seen what you can do. Together, we could reshape the galaxy. As Cassandra considered the proposal, her mind drifted back to all she had experienced at Nexus 9. The challenges, the revelations, the battles, they had pushed her to her absolute limits and beyond. And yet she realized, this was just the beginning. All right, she said finally, her voice filled with determination. I'll be your bridge, but on one condition. No more secrets. If we're going to do this, we do it as true partners. Humanity joins the galactic community as equals, not as subjects to be studied or controlled. Zenthar's crest rippled with what might have been approval. Agreed. Welcome, Cassandra Way, to a new era of galactic cooperation. As the aliens began discussing the logistics of introducing humanity to the wider galactic community, Cassandra felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. She had come to Nexus 9 to prove what humans were capable of, and in doing so, she had changed the course of history. The challenges ahead would be greater than anything she had faced in the training simulations. Political intrigue, cultural clashes, and the looming threat of the Ravagers and other hostile forces. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but as she looked around at her alien allies, Cassandra knew one thing for certain. Humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Well, she said, a wry smile playing at her lips, I guess it's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. As the others nodded in agreement, Cassandra couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Whatever lay ahead, she knew that humans would face it the same way they had faced every challenge in their history, with courage, ingenuity, and an unbreakable spirit. The Deathworlders were coming to the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. Redefining the impossible. 6 months had passed since the fateful day at Nexus 9, and Cassandra Way found herself standing before the imposing gates of the Galactic Council's Grand Assembly Hall. The massive structure, a marvel of alien architecture, loomed over her, a crystalline spire that seemed to defy the very laws of physics, its translucent walls shimmering with an inner light that pulsed like a living heartbeat. Beside her stood Zalthrix, its iridescent skin flickering with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Are you ready for this, Cassandra?" it asked, its multifaceted eyes fixed on the human. Cassandra took a deep breath, smoothing down the front of her sleek, navy blue uniform, a blend of human military style and alien aesthetics. "As ready as I'll ever be," she replied with a wry smile. "Time to show the galaxy what humanity's really made of." The past 6 months have been a whirlwind of activity. Earth's governments have been informed of the wider galactic community, leading to a period of shock, wonder, and frantic preparation. Cassandra had spent countless hours briefing world leaders, scientists, and military officials on what she had learned at Nexus 9. Meanwhile, the news of humanity's psychic potential had sent shockwaves through the galactic political landscape. Some species welcomed the prospect of a new powerful ally. Others viewed humans with fear and suspicion, seeing them as a potential threat to the established order. And always, lurking in the shadows, was the specter of the Ravagers. Though they had retreated from Nexus 9, intelligence reports suggested they were regrouping, possibly planning a larger assault on human space. As Cassandra and Zalthrix approached the assembly hall's entrance, a hush fell over the gathered dignitaries. Representatives from 100 different species turned to stare at the human in their midst, some with curiosity, others with barely concealed hostility. High Counselor Zenithar stepped forward to greet them, its luminescent crest rippling in what Cassandra had come to recognize as a gesture of respect. "Ambassador Wei," it said, using her new official title. "The Council awaits your address. Are you prepared to present humanity's case for full membership in the Galactic Alliance?" Cassandra nodded, her jaw set with determination. "I am, High Counselor, and I bring a proposal that I believe will change the face of galactic politics forever." As they entered the vast chamber, Cassandra couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The ceiling soared hundreds of meters overhead, a dome of swirling energy patterns that seemed to represent the very fabric of space-time. Tiered seating surrounded a central platform, each section filled with beings of every conceivable shape and form. Taking her place on the speaker's dais, Cassandra looked out over the assembled representatives of galactic civilization. Her heart raced, but her voice was steady as she began to speak. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her words automatically translated into 100 different languages. "I stand before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as a bridge between two worlds, the isolated cradle of humanity and the vast, wondrous expanse of galactic civilization." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the chamber. "In the short time since our first contact, humanity has demonstrated its potential. We've adapted to your technologies, interfaced with your psychic networks, and even repelled an attack by the dreaded Ravagers. But we're not here to boast of our accomplishments. We're here to offer a partnership." A murmur ran through the assembly. Cassandra pressed on, her voice growing stronger. "The galaxy faces threats that no single species can hope to overcome alone. The Ravagers are just one example. There are dangers lurking in the dark spaces between the stars that require us to stand united." She tapped a control on her wrist, and a holographic display sprang to life above the central platform. It showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with Earth highlighted in blue. "We propose the creation of a new joint task force, the Galactic Defense Initiative. This force will combine the unique strengths of each member species to create a unified defense against external threats." The murmuring grew louder as the implications of her proposal sank in. Cassandra continued, outlining a plan that would see human adaptability and ingenuity combined with alien technologies and psychic abilities. She spoke of joint research projects, cultural exchanges, and a new era of cooperation that would propel galactic civilization to new heights. As she concluded her speech, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Some representatives cheered, while others buzzed or chittered in agitation. Zenthar raised its appendages for silence. A bold proposal, Ambassador Wei, the High Counselor said. But some among us have concerns. Humanity is still an unknown quantity. How can we be sure that this Galactic Defense Initiative won't simply become a tool for human expansion? Cassandra had anticipated this question. High Counselor, esteemed representatives, I understand your concerns. That's why we propose that leadership of the initiative be shared, a rotating command structure that ensures no single species holds too much power. She tapped her wrist control again, and the holographic display changed to show a complex organizational chart. Furthermore, we suggest implementing a system of checks and balances, with oversight from an independent body comprised of representatives from all member species. The debate raged for hours. Cassandra fielded questions, addressed concerns, and passionately argued for her vision of a united galaxy. Throughout it all, she drew on everything she had learned at Nexus 9. Her enhanced problem-solving skills, her deepened understanding of alien psychology, and the raw determination that had seen her through the most grueling challenges. As the session neared its end, Zenthar called for a vote. Cassandra held her breath as the results were tallied. Finally, the High Counselor stepped forward. By a margin of 73%, Zenthar announced, its voice echoing through the chamber, the Galactic Council approves the formation of the Galactic Defense Initiative, with Earth as a founding member. A cheer went up from the pro-human factions, while others sat in stunned silence. Cassandra felt a wave of relief and exhilaration wash over her. They had done it. Humanity had secured its place among the stars. As the session adjourned, Cassandra found herself surrounded by a throng of alien dignitaries, all eager to speak with the architect of this new galactic order. But her eyes sought out Zalthrix, who stood beaming with pride. You did it, Cassandra, the alien said, its skin shimmering with joy. You've changed the course of galactic history. Cassandra smiled, but her eyes were already focused on the challenges ahead. We've taken the first step, she said, but the real work is just beginning. As she left the assembly hall, Cassandra's mind was already racing with plans and possibilities. The Galactic Defense Initiative would need to be organized, protocols established, joint training programs developed. And always, there was the looming threat of the Ravagers and whatever other dangers lurked in the cosmic darkness. But as she looked up at the alien sky, with its unfamiliar stars and swirling nebulae, Cassandra felt a surge of hope and determination. Humanity had faced countless challenges in its history, overcoming each one through grit, ingenuity, and an indomitable spirit. Now, those same qualities would be put to the test on a galactic scale. The Deathworlders had arrived, and the universe would never be the same again. Whatever lay ahead, Cassandra knew one thing for certain. Humanity was ready to redefine the impossible. As she boarded the shuttle that would take her back to Earth, back home to share the news of their triumph, Cassandra couldn't help but smile. The greatest adventure in human history was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead. The stars, once so distant and unreachable, now beckoned with endless possibilities, and humanity, the upstart species from a forgotten corner of the galaxy, was ready to answer that call, not as conquerors, but as partners in a grand cosmic journey. The age of humanity had dawned, and the galaxy would never be the same again.